ating mga guests. Katakot na po talaga ngayon ang mga balita. Dapat na talaga tayong magkaisa at magkaroon ng pananalig dahil ang mga nangyayari ngayon ay nakasaad sa Biblia. God bless Philippines. Mula kay Malu Perez ng Cavite, ano po ba ang tama at legal na pamamaraan ang dapat gawin ng gobyerno natin upang maprotektahan ang ating bansa laban sa pananakop ng China sa mga isla natin? Parang wala po kasi tayong kakayahang ipagtanggol ang ating teritoryo sa pananakop ng China. Mula naman kay Boy Santos ng Manila, ano po ang mangyayari sa ating mamamayang Pilipino kung masakop na ng China ang West Philippine Sea? Ito po ang ilang nanggaling sa ating mga participants at siguro po ay balikan natin si Congressman Golez sa hanging question kanina na madalas banggitin ng Amerika, yung hegemony ng Asia Pacific ay naapektuhan nitong ganitong ginagawa ng China. Pero it appears, according sa observation ng marami, na US is not actually challenging the military acts of the Chinese government, na parang obviously raw ay meron silang interdependence sa kanilang respective economies.
Alam nyo, yung nangyayari ngayon, may tinatawag na dynamics yan, no? Mayroong internal debate sa mga policy makers, decision makers. Iba ang posisyon ng Department of State, even within. Meron silang mga disagreements doon. Iba ang posisyon ng Pentagon, Department of Defense. Iba din ang White House. Ang White House, dahil kay President Obama, ang tingin ng mga tao parang kalapati, dove, no? Medyo peacenik, ayaw ng gulo. Pero ang Pentagon, lalo na sa Pacific Command, iba naman ang sinasabi nila. Nagsimulang magbago ang mga statements na gagaling sa Estados Unidos noong magbandang May. Nung magkaroon ng turnover sa Pacific Command, Secretary Carter and the new Pacific Commander, Admiral Harris, issued statement. Sabi nila, we're going to enter, we're going to patrol anywhere we can. Make no mistake about it. Tapos naghintay tayo kung kailan ba magsisimula yung mga freedom of navigation patrols, medyo walang nangyayari. But finally, it happened, mga banda October, yung USS Lassen. Noong panahon na yun, marami nag-aabang. Ano kaya ang gagawin ng China dito? Pag itinuloy yung patrol na yan, supposedly within the 12 nautical mile limit of a picture nung ang pinili nila, Subirip. Sabi ko, ano kaya gagawin ng China? But the worst thing that China did was to summon the US ambassador. Wala silang ginawa na masasabi natin medyo matigas, no? Kaya parang sabi ng, mukhang parang eyeball to eyeball at nag-blink ang China dito. But this started several other actions also. Of course, yung pinakabandang huli, yung karoon ng Sunny Lands Declaration, nag-meeting si President Obama with the leaders of the ASEAN. So, may kita nyo, medyo lumalakas yung puwersa in favor of a more assertive America. In fact, ang pressure is also coming from the Senate, particularly Senator McCain. Kasi parati niyang kinukonfront ang Department of Defense, even the White House, saying, nakita niya, sabi niya, for about 3 years, wala rong patrol sa loob ng South China Sea, ang US Navy. Parang, bakit ganun? Bakit pinababayaan? So ngayon, after the Sunny Lands Declaration in California, ang bumulaga sa atin yung announcement nga na meron silang mga surface-to-air missiles doon naman sa Paracels. That's outside the West Philippine Sea. Kaya narinig ko na sabi ko, yung outside yan, that's about 200 nautical miles from the West Philippine Sea, malayo sa atin. Pero ang pangamba ng marami, at kasama sa pangamba ko yan, pag hindi magalit ang mundo rito, in accordance with the strategy of creeping invasion, one step forward, tahimik muna, pag walang reklamo, another step, then, imimilitarize nila ang mga artificial islands. No? Lalo na yung tatlo, Pirate Cross Reef, which is a little outside our exclusive economic zone, yung Subi Reef, nakatabi ng ating Pag-asa. It's about 12 nautical miles away. And then, Mischief Reef, which is well inside our exclusive economic zone. Pag yun ang mangyari, malaking gulo kasi ang in-expect dyan, pag na-militarize yan, pag siwan, nag-take off na sila sa Pirate Cross Reef. Pinakita nila na a big commercial liner. Kasi laki ng mga sinasakyan ng aeroplano, pupunta tayo ng Hong Kong, ng Japan, can take off and land do sa 3,000 meter runway ng Pirate Cross Reef, which is just a few meters shorter than our NAIA runway. Ang ibig sabihin niyan, lahat ng klaseng aeroplano pwedeng magamit. Bomber, fighter jets. So ang worry, diba, pag ito'y mangyari at hindi mapigilan, pag na-militarize, makukontrol nila yung South China Sea. They can deploy fighter jets, which they have already deployed doon sa Woody Island. At pag ginawa nila yan, they can cover 1,000, just a 1,000 mile radius. Will cover the entire Philippines, buong Pilipinas, most of Borneo, most of Malaysia, and most of Vietnam. At baka maglagay sila ng Aerial Defense Identification Zone, which is going to complicate the commercial traffic. Baka magkaroon ng miscalculation dyan. Pagkatapos, baka maglagay sila ng other anti-access area denial weapons like God forbid, no? Ito magiging provocative talaga. Pero nakalagay yan sa isang Ministry of Defense study ng Japan. Pinag-aralan nila, ang pwedeng mangyari daw, baka maglagay ng Dongfeng 21D missiles doon. Ano ba yan? Ito yung tinatawag na carrier killers, so the radius of about 1,500 kilometers, maybe even beyond, that will push out the aircraft carriers of the US away from the Philippines, away from the South China Sea, and maybe back to the Guam area. So medyo hihina ang puwersa, ang power projection ng United States Navy, which is their source of power. At nung isang linggo lamang, nagsalita si Admiral Harris sa US Congress. Sabi niya, ang tingin namin, what we see is that China is planning to become the hegemon of the West Pacific. Pag sinabing hegemon, boss, hari. Right now, the hegemon is the United States. Dahil sila ang mas may poder. Pero pag magawa nila yan, dahil nga sa nag-build up sila ng mga military might dito, yung island sila, pag makalabas yung kanilang PLA Navy, which is going to be very difficult from the East China Sea, passing to either the Bashi Channel or going through Japan, Taiwan, mapupush out nila. Ako, nagbigay ng comment dyan, sabi ko, China, we should resist the plan of China to become the hegemon, because I don't think China will be a benign hegemon. Hindi magiging mabait na hegemon yan. Anong patunay? Yung ginagawa nila sa Tibet. Pero doon, maraming pinapiring squadron. Sa Xinjiang, yung mga Uyghur. Medyo marami in-execute doon dahil nga sa ganyan. Plus yung China, magugulat ka, bakit ba problematic ang China? Binabasa ko, ang China has disputes with about 24 countries, although it has only about 14 common boundaries. So yung sabihin, pati hindi nila kapitbahay, pinakikialaman yung mga territory. I think the Philippines is already one of them.
Wow.
Kaya talagang nung nagkaroon ng Scarborough Shoal incident, marami sabi, malit na bagay yan, Scarborough. That's only a few specks, a little speck in the middle of nowhere. Sabi ko, wag niyo maliitin ang Scarborough. Talang lagoon inside Scarborough is as big as Quezon City, 150 square kilometers. You can imagine kung gaano karaming vapor ang pwede mailagay sa loob ng Quezon City. At sabi ko pati, and well, I'm not happy that parang na-predict ko yung mangyayari, no? Hindi maganda ang mangyayari. Sabi ko, and any power with construction capability can convert this low tide elevation islands into bases by construction, by reclamation. I said that in 2012, 2013. Ayun, sinimulan nila yung yung reformation. Nagkatotoo yung nakikita ko na masamang mangyari. At nangyayari yun sa 7 features. Pero isang dadagdag ko, let's go back to 2005. Yun yung JMSU, Joint Marine Seismic Undertaking. I criticized that when I was in Congress. But sabi ko, yung pinabayaan natin ng China to this JMSU to survey most of the West Philippine Sea. Hindi natin alam kung ano nakita nila doon. I think that maybe one of the reasons why they're so aggressive, maybe they saw something, a lot of things there.
Yun yung hidden treasures.
Oo, na hindi nila sinabi sa atin. Ang problema kasi, kanila yung survey ship, kanila yung mga computer na ginamit, at mukhang walang pinasang data sa atin. O kung meron man, baka mga basurang data. Ito yung tripartite agreement between the PNOC with the Chinese National Oil Company and Petro-Vietnam na tinutulan ng marami. In fact, a lot of people say it was a sell-out. So, pag pinag-ugnay-ugnay mo yan, yan ang marahil ang dahilan kung bakit napaka-agresibo siya. Maybe they saw something there that we don't know.
Secretary Almonte, in the light of the alarming possible development na nangyayari ngayon, yung alarming research information from Congressman Golez, ano po ang dapat na maging stand or ready action ng ating pamahalaan plus the so-called EDCA agreement which was approved by the Supreme Court as constitutional. Ano ito po ba ay merong relevance?
Yeah, Brother Eddie, before I answer that, you asked a very important question, and I think Congressman Golez gave a very good answer. But may I just, before I answer the question, I just put a context to the answer, to possible answer to your question. Well, number one, the 21st century will really be defined by the relationship between China and the United States. That's number one. Number two, China and the United States understand that going to war, fighting each other, will not serve their interests. That's number two. So as a consequence, what they're doing is this. Where they can cooperate, they cooperate. That's why they have these trade, economic relationships that are beneficial to both. Where it is necessary to compete, they compete. When their competition becomes so intense, it threatens the mutual relationship, beneficial relationships. They work together to look for points of consensus which could restore the earlier beneficial relationship. Now, China, President Xi Jinping, for instance, when he went to visit the United States, not in September, when he was not yet president, I think he's president of Jintao. You will recall that in their view, the relation between the United States and China are very stable because, according to them, there are 95 institutions of points of contact between the United States and China. And every year, they have this strategic economic dialogue, which is being held alternately in Beijing or in Washington. And I think the last one was held in Washington. So, more or less, this is the context of the relationship. But beyond this is the competition that really the context is in terms of a status quo power, which is the United States, and a power that is rising, which is China. Now, historically, this ends normally in violence. They call it the Thucydides trap. But I think they know this so well that they try to avoid it. However, and this is